The Commission for Gender Equality hosted a legal clinic in the Makause informal settlement in Germiston today. The community, especially women, face a slew of social ills and problems, including lack of services and high crime levels. For more on the Commission's interventions now, we speak to the Commission's chairperson, Tamara Mathebula, and she joins us now live from our studios in Pretoria. Ma'am, good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for coming through.
Good afternoon to you, and thank you for having me.
Now, if you can just start by painting us a picture of the place, the conditions and the challenges that women go through on a daily basis in the Makause informal settlement.
Absolutely. The area in Makause basically is an informal settlement. It's opposite the Primrose area in Germiston. And this is east of Johannesburg, Ekurhuleni. The conditions in that particular area are in such that, the streets are dark, there is no electricity. Women usually travel long distances, even early in the morning, to go and catch the early morning taxis to work and come back late. That's quite risky, and there's crime rate, so they're subjected to that. The second thing that we realized was that the streets are very narrow and dark. We also realized that the basic service conditions are not there. So women are actually, they can't have access to clean water as well as sanitation. So you will find that in the area there is only two taps that are bringing clean water in the area for the entire community. And there is also outside toilets. And these toilets are shared between 10 families who have to walk long distances and crossing small streets to be able to access the toilets. And I'm not even talking about the access to services like reproductive health care services. The services are not there. The police stations are far. Women have to sometimes deliver babies at home or die delivering babies at home. So the situation is very dire. It's very concerning that we still have such areas in South Africa.
Yeah, the place is an informal settlement, Mathebula, and I suppose government can only do so much. But part of the issues and the challenges that you mentioned to us now, they are directly linked to human rights.
Correctly, yes. Yes, they are linked to basic human rights. I think in my opening address when I was at Makause, one of the things that I mentioned was the fact that the community should actually know about the constitutions and the rights that are enshrined in the Constitution, as well as the Bill of Rights as the cornerstone of democracy, because these are some of the things that people don't know out there, and we assume that they know. And they should even know if their rights are violated, where do they go to for services. And we're also saying that the local municipality should actually have an interest in areas such as Makause in terms of making sure that they improve conditions of those areas, just to make sure that people's basic needs are met one way or the other.
But we understand that some government institutions are already attending to some of these matters. Let's just talk about the mandate of the Commission itself in terms of monitoring the progress for the services that are delivered by some of these government institutions. How far when are you going to go back to the area, and what are you looking into in terms of monitoring progress?
Thank you for the question. We have decided that in that area there will be a task team that will be formed, and members of that task team will be coming from various institutions. They will be coming from community and community leaders themselves. And this community team or task team will actually work things out and identify needs that need to be prioritized, needs that need to be looked at a medium as well as long term. And these needs will actually be presented together with the Commission for Gender Equality's findings when we were doing our own investigation in the area. And these will be tabled before the local government, the municipality in the area, the mayor, as well as some government departments such as Department of Basic Education, and other departments such as social development. So in terms of our mandate as a constitutional body, our mandate basically is to make sure that we monitor if the government departments are actually responding to the needs of that particular community. And we will actually be having meetings, regular meetings with these government departments. We will actually sit down and craft a number of recommendations that will be binding for government departments to take forward, and we will have specific time frames to say these should be delivered at such a time. And we will make sure that monitoring continues by the Commission for Gender Equality, both by the Gauteng office but also by the headquarters, in terms of making sure that the needs are addressed at Makause, and the women's issues in particular do not take too long to actually be addressed, and we should see justice happening as fast as it should take place.
There are also a number of resolutions taken by the Commission, really including on matters related to violence. So your report indicates that the levels of violence are very high there in that area, violence on women, but both on children. You also reflecting on the report on an incident of a woman who locked, or rather handcuffed, the children as she was going out for the night.
Exactly. Yes, you're quite right. Those are the findings in our report, that both women, children, as well as members of the LGBTIQA community are actually having the rights violated in the area. And what you have mentioned as an example is one of the findings that in one sheikh we discovered that a woman would actually handcuff her children and she will go out for the night. And these are violations that we have seen. But also what came out today when we had engagements was that ECDs, which is early childhood development centers, are not catered for, particularly by the Department of Social Development. So they are not registered, and they are actually, children who are actually registered in those ECDs are not receiving the basic education that is required, and they are not receiving quite healthy nutrition as they are supposed to actually be receiving. So that was also an outcry in terms of how all of this impacts on children as well as LGBTIQ communities.
It will be interesting to see what the task team comes up with, but we'll leave the discussion at this one. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, Tamara Mathebula is the Commission for Gender Equality's chairperson, talking to us about the report that the Commission released earlier today, really painting a not so good picture, in fact, the dire conditions that women are subjected to in the Makause informal settlement that's near Germiston in Gauteng.